In a world where appearances deceive and wealth often defines worth, there are still some souls whose hearts shine brighter than gold. This is the story of a young girl from the forgotten corners of rural America, a girl who knew the taste of hunger, the weight of sacrifice, and the power of selfless love. When life tested her with fire, she didn't burn, she became the light. And when she thought she had lost everything, destiny knocked on her door in the most unexpected disguise. This isn't just a love story. It's a story about honor, about family, about the value of a good heart in a world obsessed with faces and fortunes. So sit back, take a deep breath, and listen closely. Because by the end of this story, you may just start to believe that kindness never truly goes unnoticed, and that real love sees far beyond what the eyes can behold. In a quiet rural town in Kentucky, where everyone knew everyone, lived a young girl named Emily Parker. She shared a small wooden house with her parents and her older brother, Jake. Their home, though modest and worn, was filled with warmth and love. The family struggled financially, often going to bed with little food, wearing second-hand clothes, and praying the roof wouldn't leak in the rain. But what they lacked in wealth, they made up for in love and unity. Emily's father, Mark, worked tirelessly as a handyman, fixing broken farm equipment, repairing fences, and hauling heavy sacks at the local feed store. His hands were cracked, his back always sore, but he never complained. Her mother, Lisa, picked vegetables at a local farm from dawn till dusk and sold them at the Saturday farmers' market, standing under the scorching sun and calling out to passing cars with a hopeful smile. Sometimes her skin would burn red, but she pressed on. Jake, only 18, knocked on doors every day, offering to mow lawns, carry groceries, or clean out barns. But people often turned him away because he didn't look the part. His clothes were old, and he had no experience. Then, one brutal winter, the Parker family lost their house after falling behind on property taxes. With nowhere to go, they moved into an abandoned shed on the edge of a cattle ranch. The roof leaked. The floor creaked. But it was shelter. And in that darkness, her parents would always say to her, "Remember, Emily, knowledge is something no one can take from you. Keep studying, no matter what." With no electricity, Emily studied by candlelight, her stomach often growling. Still, she pressed on, dreaming of a better future. Her perseverance paid off. She won a scholarship for academic excellence, giving her a chance to attend a community college in Lexington. Emily moved to the city, working as a cashier at a bustling convenience store to support herself. Every paycheck, no matter how small, she sent a portion back home. She missed her family dearly and hoped someday she could lift them out of poverty. But despite her growing success, dating was a painful experience. Once guys learned about her background, they lost interest. She wasn't from money. She wasn't polished. She wasn't enough. Her brother Jake faced similar rejection. No matter how kind or hardworking he was, girls never gave him a chance. One chilly autumn evening, Emily came home from work to find her mother holding a letter. Lisa looked serious. "It's from a man named Mr. Richard Callahan," she said, handing it to Emily. Emily unfolded the letter with shaking hands. Richard, a 62-year-old wealthy businessman from Nashville, was proposing marriage. In exchange, he promised to care for her entire family, pay off debts, cover her father's medical bills, and give them a comfortable life. Emily's stomach turned. The idea of marrying a man older than her father terrified her. But the next day, men in suits arrived at the shed, carrying boxes filled with food, blankets, and medicine. Her father, who had been hiding his worsening heart condition, finally confessed. He was very ill, and they couldn't afford treatment. That night, as her father coughed and her mother cried silently, Emily stared at the ceiling and whispered, "I'll do it. I'll marry him." On her wedding day, the skies were clear, but Emily's heart was heavy. She sat quietly in her borrowed white dress as neighbors gathered, smiling and clapping. When Mr. Richard Callahan arrived, he was everything she had imagined: tall, slow-moving, with silver hair, deep wrinkles, and a warm but tired smile. Before the ceremony, he spoke to her kindly, asking about her childhood, her favorite memories, her dreams. His gentle manner surprised her. She had expected coldness, not kindness. During the vows, Emily's hands trembled. Her voice cracked. But she said the words. After the ceremony, they arrived at his mansion. Marble floors, chandeliers, a scent of roses in the air. It was a world she had never seen. Emily sat nervously on the edge of a giant bed while Richard took a long shower. Minutes turned to hours. Then, the bathroom door opened. But instead of the old man, a young man stepped out. Emily gasped. She stood frozen. The man, maybe in his late 20s, with sharp eyes and a steady voice, looked directly at her and said, "Emily, it's me. I'm Richard." She shook her head, confused. "But the man I married, that was me in disguise," he said softly. "I needed to be sure of something." "Sure of what?" she whispered. He sat across from her. "When I was a boy, my grandfather told me a story about a little girl who gave him her lunch on a cold day. He had nothing, and yet she gave everything. He never forgot her." Emily's breath caught in her throat. "I tracked you down. I wore makeup, prosthetics, gray hair. I had to know if you'd care about who I was inside, not my money. And you did. You married me not out of greed, but to save your family." Just then, Richard clapped his hands. 2 makeup artists entered the room, carrying brushes and prosthetic kits. Emily watched as they recreated the old man's face on the young man sitting beside her, right before her eyes. The wrinkles, the hair, the voice. It had all been part of a test. Emily cried. Not from fear, but from relief. She rushed to him and hugged him tightly. "I don't care what you look like. I love the man who was kind, who remembered my heart. And I love the girl who gave away her lunch," he whispered. From that day on, Emily and Richard began their life together, not out of convenience, but out of understanding and love. True to his word, Richard paid for her father's medical treatment, moved her family into a real home, and helped Jake start his own handyman business. Eventually, Jake met a sweet schoolteacher who loved him for who he was. Emily never forgot the struggles of her past. But now, she faced her future with hope, knowing that kindness comes back in ways you never expect. Moral of the story: in America or anywhere in the world, what truly matters is not your wealth or looks, but your heart. A single act of kindness can echo through time and return to you when you least expect it.